What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection yet again. Aspyr made an update. Want to talk about that. Want to talk about the player numbers as well, and just the general hope that maybe they can get this thing on track. Look, I don't want to write the game completely off. We made the video yesterday, and there were plenty of people that said they had no issues or they're having no issues with the game. I think it's fair to call the launch a disaster in terms of, well, at least you can look at one platform, right? And it's Steam, right? And the player base and the reception in terms of the scores of what people are giving it. People are not happy. Aspyr, issues this statement. They clearly know that there were some problems with it. Again, it's not to say that every single person on the planet is having problems with this game, and I know some people are enjoying it, and that's totally cool. I want the game to turn around, and that's part of the reason why I'm making this video, because I want to look at the player numbers. They are running out of time, I think, to turn this thing around, because the longer they wait, I know they're working, but the longer, that it takes to fix it, I think the less and less people are going to even be playing the game in the first place, and I don't know how many people you would get back, right? But maybe, there's redemption stories all the time, right? So let's read their update first, and then basically, again, admitting that, yeah, this was a colossal, failure, and this wasn't supposed to happen. We'd like to thank the Battlefront community for their overwhelming support and feedback for the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. At launch, we experienced critical errors with our network infrastructure. The result was incredibly high ping, matchmaking errors, crashes, and servers not appearing in the browser. Since launch, we've been working to address those issues and increase network stability, and we will continue our efforts until our network infrastructure is stabilized to prevent further outages. And they say, please, obviously, continue to report bugs, errors, etc. And so, look, right now, when I'm recording this, it's about like midday Friday. There's about 3,000 players playing it on Steam right now, right? The peak of all time was 9,232, but the game really, it was at like 9,200 the first day. It was about 6,800, right? So they lost roughly like 2,200 people, right, within one day. And right now, it's looking like the high is probably going to be half of that. Again, 6,800. Today, it's looking like maybe it'll max out at around 3.5. Maybe it gets to 4,000. So, again, the reason why I want to talk about this, well, to go over their update, but they're losing players. Now, yes, and we've talked about Steam database 1,000 times with other games, right? It is just Steam. I know a lot of people bought this on PlayStation. I know a lot of people bought it on Xbox, and it seems like the console versions are running better than the PC version, right? So granted, there's some different things depending on the platform that you got it for. So I guess maybe if you want to say specifically what I'm talking about, they got to fix those PC issues before they lose everyone. 10,000 people, 9,000 people, not a bad start for like a Wednesday night, right? And if the game was working perfectly, right, and that's another problem, which I guess I want to throw out there, like, look, I know every game that comes out under the sun has issues at launch. Call me old school, call me whatever you want. I would really prefer games to come out and they would just work, right? And maybe that's that game preservationist, in me, specifically for a game like this. These games are 20 years old. There's really I don't really think there's an excuse for this. They're so old. You're just re-releasing them. Yeah, you add a few things, but it's basically a re-release just to kind of get eyes on it again. They should be working. And regardless of that, regardless of the age, why can't games just work when they release? And now, again, I understand different performances, right? Different performances based off the system that you got it. But let's just say for Steam, right? Like, it's very clear from the metrics on Steam that the game is hated. People are not having fun. And people are doing refunds, etc., right? Why can't the game just work at launch? So that is a direct, I would say, jab at Aspyr. There's no excuse for this stuff. You got to have this stuff working day one. And this should be across the industry, but obviously if we're specifically talking about it here, there's absolutely no excuse. And people are digging back up, like, hey, let's look at what Aspyr has done recently. And, I don't want to get into the KOTOR stuff. I think the KOTOR stuff is a little bit deeper based off, like, the rumors that we've gone over on the channel, right? Like, that may not have been all of their fault, and they were very, like, happy with the work that they put on that game. But you can look at that and say, well, that was taken from them. This thing, the KOTOR, the DLC that never made it, on the Switch, like, they've made several Star Wars blunders. You could maybe argue the KOTOR thing was bigger, but like, we don't know the issue there versus we do know the issue here. This is a pretty big deal. So, again, in terms of that player base, I know it's just Steam. It might be doing better on PlayStation. PlayStation seems like a place that a lot of these people people have bought the game, and that's fine. And maybe it's running better, and that's good. But specifically for Steam, if you can't fix this, within the next like 2, 3, 4 days, those player counts, like, they're going to be under 1,000. I would say you're only a few days away. Now, the weekend should help. But especially going into next week, and then Dragon's Dogma comes out, and Rise of the Ronin, South Park. I mean, and Alone in the Dark. Like, actually, next week is very busy. And yeah, not all of them. Like, they're kind of all over the place on systems. But like, you're gonna lose people in Battlefront, and you're gonna lose people naturally. So if you don't fix it, and if it's still not working, you're going to get a game that's going to have less than 1,000 people playing it on Steam. And considering it's not cross-platform, right? So you're playing on Steam, you're only playing with that group. And yeah, multiplayer is just one part of the game, but you would like to see people supporting it, only if it's right, supporting it, playing it online, etc. And it doesn't really seem like that's happening. It's getting lower and lower. And yeah, if they fix this thing like early to mid next week, that might actually be too late. But again, I think honestly, that's a pretty good message in you gotta make sure these things are ready at launch. Like, I know games take 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get like up and running now. I don't know why that's acceptable. We've seen like Payday 3 pay for that failure, right? Like, I don't know why people just let that go, but and actually the thing is, I don't think people let it go. I think people do kind of speak with their wallets and are showing you in these player count number things, right, for Payday, for this, that you're not going to accept things like that. So that's good. I honestly think that's good. These games should come out completely done. And again, I'll keep saying it. Like, I know it's a different performance for each console. Like I said in yesterday's video, I'm ready to play it. When I'm a little bit busy. When I am able to play it Sunday, Sunday or Monday, I'll have an entire thing separate from all this, right? It's my own personal opinion, and I'll tell you guys what I think of its performance when I play it, okay? Let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.